Fantasy Football Hub have extended their huge 50% discount on their annual packages until the Game Week 3 deadline. By becoming a member, you'll gain access to one of the biggest FPL communities, with extensive Opta stats, player comparisons, fixture tickers, planning spreadsheets, community WhatsApp groups, and even team reveals every game week from some of the world's best FPL managers. To receive this huge half-price discount, simply click the link in the description box below and get signed up before the Game Week 3 deadline. Hey guys, and welcome back to FPL TV. Before looking to my transfers and team selection for Game Week 2, let's see how the side performed in the opening game week of the season. It was a decent start to the season in the Friday night kickoff, with Martinelli scoring and very nearly getting a second. The hope was that at just 6 million, Martinelli would provide exceptional value, and he couldn't have started much better really. No goal for the popular Gabriel Jesus in that game, but he did look very sharp and put in a decent display, so with Arsenal's upcoming fixtures, I do feel the goals will come. It was a less than ideal start for the expensive Liverpool defensive double-up, however, with the Reds conceding 2 against Fulham and Mitrovic putting in an excellent menacing performance. Obviously, I picked these two with the long term in mind, so no big concerns just yet, but I'll certainly be hoping for better at home to Palace next week. Considering Fulham were without key creators Harry Wilson and Fabio Carvalho heading into this new season, I really fancied a clean sheet here, but it wasn't to be. In fact, Fulham were more than good value for their draw, and notably, Andreas Pereira, who's in my squad, played very far forward and looks to be exceptional value at 4.5 million. Much more than just bench fodder, it seems. Accommodating Robertson at the back before the Game Week 1 deadline meant going very light in goal, and I opted for the cheap 8 million double-up of Leicester goalkeepers. Not a great start for Ward with a one-pointer, but in fairness that was more to be expected. Of course, I'd feel much better now with Ederson in goal here, a keeper that I did have throughout all my pre-season drafts, so a bit of regret there. However, it's obvious that Ederson is going to outscore Ward, but my aim was to try and utilise that extra 1.5 million better on my outfield players, and if Robertson can do the business over the next few weeks, then hopefully it'll be worth it. For the other two premium defenders, it was a better start, with both City and Chelsea keeping clean sheets. The notable thing here is that both Cancelo and James were booked in their respective fixtures, and yet still came out of it with 2 bonus points apiece, which is very impressive and shows they do rack up the bonus points. Sadly, no returns for Mason Mount or Bailey in midfield, who both put in fairly average performances. Frustratingly, Mason Mount at 8 million was hooked after just 60 minutes, and I certainly expected better against Everton. It is just one game week after all, so the plan is to stick with Mount for now, who I do consider a fairly reliable asset who should tick over. But after an admittedly small sample size, both Saka and Maddison looked a lot more dangerous in the opening week and appear to be better picks at 8 million. No doubt the defining moment of the opening game week for me, like many managers, was the big 50-50 at the start of the season between Haaland or Harry Kane, and frustratingly I was on the wrong end of that call. I opted for Kane, who had a tantalising home fixture against Southampton, and I really fancied Spurs to put a few goals past them. In fairness, I was right in my thinking, and yet despite Spurs scoring 4 goals, somehow Kane didn't have any involvement whatsoever. Haaland then went on to score both goals away to West Ham, so a disastrous result for me. The one thing I did get right for Game Week 1 though, although not too difficult, was the inclusion and captaincy of Mo Salah, who made it 6 years in a row that he's returned on the opening game week of the season. The Mo Salah captaincy salvaged what was a very poor opening game week overall for my side. So for Game Week 1, my team scored a very underwhelming 58 points, with Kane over Haaland being the real difference maker. With so many opting for Haaland in that tough trip away to West Ham, I figured opting for the proven Harry Kane at home to Southampton was the smart move to get ahead of the pack early on, but it couldn't have gone much worse in fairness. On the positive though, despite being underwhelming, 58 was just above the average of 57, so not a complete disaster at least. It gives me an opening rank of 3.9 million, and considering there's 8.5 million teams to begin things, that puts me ahead of 50% of the game to get things started. Hopefully now, with a solid team for Game Week 2, I can put a big dent in this 3.9 million ranking, and fingers crossed the only way is up from here. So let's move on to Game Week 2 now and discuss some transfer plans as well as my current team lineup. Also, if you are enjoying the video, then please be sure to leave a like and most importantly get subscribed to FPL TV. You can also hit the notification bell so you always know when a new video goes live. As I spoke about during pre-season, one of my key reasons for including Harry Kane was that even if he did disappoint, he would at the very least give me flexibility to bring in Erling Haaland with one free transfer. In Game Week 1, Erling Haaland racked up a monstrous 4 big chances, the most of any player in the game week, all within 78 minutes away to West Ham, whilst Kane on the other hand managed 0 despite playing the full 90 at home to Southampton. Haaland also managed 5 shots inside the box to Kane's 1, and Haaland taking that penalty also increases appeal significantly. With all that considered, and the fact that Kane is away to Chelsea in Game Week 2, whilst Haaland is at home to Bournemouth, made this move all the more straightforward. So that's my confirmed transfer for the game week, with Kane out and Haaland in. Of course, I still expect Kane to be a top FPL asset this season and will likely come good very soon. But given those very damning underlying numbers, Haaland immediately became an outstanding captaincy shout for Game Week 2, and that's what I brought him in for. Granted, lots of shrewd FPL managers started the season with Haaland for that very reason, and I've now put myself at a big disadvantage to them as I'm 11 points down in the deal, as well as losing 1 free transfer in the process. So in hindsight, a big mistake to begin this season, but still a bit unlucky that Kane got nothing despite Spurs scoring 4. So with that transfer confirmed, let's see how the side now lines up. With a game week rank of 3.9 million last time out, I'll certainly be hoping for better in game week 2, with notably all 10 of my outfield players boasting home fixtures. I'm not sure that I can expect much from Mount and James here in this difficult fixture against Tottenham, and as for Leon Bailey, well, for 5 million it'll be a bonus if he can get something. Steven Gerrard will definitely want a response after that opening day defeat against Bournemouth though, and Everton at home is a more than good enough fixture for the budget enabler. As for my 7 players of Arsenal, Liverpool and Man City though, that's where I'll be expecting some big returns, and Liverpool too will also be looking to respond after their 2-2 draw against Fulham. With their opponents Palace failing to score at home to Arsenal in their opening fixture, that does give me a bit more hope of a clean sheet here. But in fairness to Palace, they did create 2 big chances against Arsenal and were perhaps a bit unlucky not to score. If I had to guess, I'd probably say Palace do score here, so hopefully Trent or Robertson can deliver on the attacking front at least, as that's what I've paid the premium for. With Ward in goal for me, there is a conflict of interest there with my Arsenal players, so at the very least he'll be a bit of insurance should the Arsenal attack disappoint. But if not, hopefully a few save points there, and considering Leicester just shipped 2 goals at home to Brentford, I'd say that puts both Martinelli and Jesus in good stead for this fixture, and hopefully Jesus can get off the mark for the season. For the captaincy in Game Week 2, as mentioned earlier, the reason to bring in Erling Haaland was to have the ability to captain him here in this home fixture against Bournemouth. Granted, the Cherries did do very well in their opening fixture, so certainly no pushovers here. But considering the underlying numbers, with Haaland racking up a huge 4 big chances in his first outing, this home fixture is simply too good to look past on paper. Plenty of other solid options in my squad of course, with Mo Salah an obvious choice, whilst the likes of Jesus and Cancelo would be my differential shouts. But the captaincy currently sits on Haaland, and I expect it to remain there come the game week deadline, providing there's no unforeseen news in the press conferences later this week of course. So that's how my team currently looks for Game Week 2. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and most importantly get subscribed. You can also hit the notification bell so you'll always know when a new video goes live. As always, if there are any further changes, then I'll post the team over on Twitter shortly before the game week deadline. Good luck to you all for Game Week 2, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all in the next video.